find the gradient of each line segment. So we have 4 straight lines, A, B, C and D, and we need to find the gradient of each one. Now the gradient formula or approach that I'm going to use, gradient equals y step over x step. Sometimes call it sort of y change, the change in y divided by the change in x between any 2 points on the line. If it's a straight line, then it doesn't matter what points you pick, but you do need to know exactly where the points are. So for example, if I look at line A, if I try and pick a point around here, that's a really bad choice because I don't know where it is. So what's a good choice? I can see this point is exactly on the crosshairs. It's on the corner of the square, so that's a really good point to choose, so that's what I'm going to pick. That's the first one, and then I can just look for a second point, and it looks like this one. And for this particular line, I didn't actually have any other options, so I had to really pick those two. Anything else, and I would have been guessing of where they were. I want you to think of the x step as being always positive. Always positive. When I say positive, I mean to the right. So I want you to always go to the right with your x step, but for the y step, I want this to be, it's positive if up, positive if you're going up, and it's negative if you're going down. So that says plus sign VE, just in case you can't read that. So if we take line A, I'm going to pick those 2 points. We've already picked the 2 points, and I need to decide between those 2 points, what is the y step, what is the x step. So if we just draw some little lines, this is the horizontal step, and this is the vertical step. So that's gone 2 places to the right. So you could say you've got an x step of 2, and remember x is always positive. And for the y, we've gone, after we've gone 2 places to the right, we need to go 1, 2, 3 up to get back on the line. We're going up, so y is positive. So that means for line A, the gradient is a y step over x step, which would be 3 over 2. And that's fine. If you want to call it 3 over 2, that's fine. Or you could call it, I don't know, 1.5 or 1.5, something like that. Okay, line B. Again, looking at line B, we need to select some 2 points where we definitely know where they are. So looking around, that looks like a good choice because I can see it's on the corner of the square there. So let's pick that. And I can pick this one here as well. Looking at that line, was there another point we could have chosen? Not really, no. So they were our only 2 options. If you do have other options, no problem. Always, it's fine. If you do it right, you'll get the right answer. But any of these other points, you'll be very unlikely to get the right answer because you will be guessing. So now I just need to decide, well, what's the y step and the x step between those points? You might not need to draw a triangle. I'm going to draw a triangle just to explain it, but you might not need it at all. You can do a lot of stuff with gradient. You can get a long way just by counting squares. So there's the vertical step. It's supposed to be vertical. There's the horizontal step. So I'll do the horizontal step first. In fact, I might just draw it the other way. Now it's okay. Right, so the horizontal step, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. Remember, I want that to always be positive. And for the vertical step here, well, it's 1, 2. But if you look at it, as I go to the right, the line slants down. So I'm going to call it -2. And then I think, just sort of what I was alluding to earlier, I might just draw the triangle in a slightly different way, just to explain that differently. So if I was to draw the triangle, the other, so say I go from here and I do my x step first, so I'm going to go 5 spaces to the right, and then I draw in my y step. It will probably make a bit more sense when I explain it. So what I mean by that is I'm on the line here at the point to the left, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places right, And then to get back to the line, I have to go 2 down. That's why we think of it, the y step, as could be positive, could be negative. If it's going down, it's -2. So that now means that the gradient is y step over x step, it's -2 over 5, which again for me that's absolutely fine. If you want to convert that to a decimal, well, that would be -4 over 10, which would be minus 0.4. But I'm perfectly happy with -2 over 5 as long as it's in its simplest form, which it is. C and D are interesting. C is a horizontal line and D is a vertical line. So you've got loads and loads of points you could pick, and they shouldn't make a difference. So if we just pick, let's pick a point there and a point here, and when you try to draw a triangle, you can't draw a triangle. So it's because that there is no vertical shift, that they're aligned, they're joined by a horizontal line. So C is a horizontal line. So your y step is 0. If I want the x step I've just drawn, well, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll write that in. X step of 6. So that means the gradient of C, well, it's y step over x step, so it's 0 over 6. Well, 0 divided by a number that's not 0 just gives you 0. And in fact, this is an important result. So any horizontal line has a gradient of 0. It has no steepness. It's like walking along a flat road. Part D is a vertical line. So if we try and pick 2 points on A, you can pick whatever point you like. So let's go, I don't know, here. Do it in red. We could pick this point here, and we could pick this point, and you're not going to find an x step. You're only going to have a y step because it is a vertical line. So something like that. And remember, I don't actually mind. It's difficult to say if your y step is positive or negative. It won't make a difference to the answer anyway. So should we just call it? Let's be positive and say it's positive. Like 1, 2. We'll call it 3. Say we've got a y step of 3, and then we'll go to work this thing out. So for D, the gradient equals y step over x step. So that's 3 dividing by 0. Now, whenever you divide by 0, that's when you give yourself an undefined result. If you try it on your calculator, it'll probably say error or math error or something like that, depending on what calculator you have. Whenever you try to divide a number by 0, you don't get an answer for that. So this is undefined. Gradient is undefined. You write it down there. Gradient is undefined. And just as the horizontal line example, this is the case for any vertical line. The gradient is undefined. So it's sometimes you could kind of think of it as an infinite gradient, but then is it infinitely going up or is it infinitely going down? It's difficult to describe. The gradient for any vertical line is undefined. It is not infinity. The gradient for any horizontal line is 0, and for any other line you need to pick 2 points where you know where they are, and then you need to use the y step over x step formula, making the x step always positive, always to the right, and the y step, well, it depends. If your line's going up, then it's going to be positive, and if your line's slanting down. And when I say going up, if you look at this line here, imagine you're walking from left to right, and always think left to right. Are you walking uphill or downhill? Here I'm walking uphill, and for line B we are walking downhill, so that has a negative gradient.